Hey y'all. So it's been about 2 weeks since I oh, bug spray. Hold on. Texas be like, okay, sorry. So it's been about 2 weeks since I did the garden tour video, and that's because we have had constant rain. Like every day it's been raining. I've hardly even had a chance to get out here and just check on it. And so there's a break in the rain. It's actually getting kind of sunny. So I'm gonna do a quick garden tour. So this is the week 2 video, but it's 2 weeks later. So maybe I should call it the week 3 video. I'm gonna show you how much it's grown. Now we have gotten a lot of rain here in Central Texas. I'm zone 8B. It has rained every day. I don't know, it's gonna rain today. Hopefully from here on out, I could keep doing every week for about the next month or two, because it is really taking off into the end of May, and it's show off time. It's peaking, it's looking awesome. Like I said, here in 8B in Central Texas, it goes from really nice to really hot in a week. And so a lot of the things are really gonna show off in the next few weeks, and then they're gonna start showing signs of the heat and the sun. So right now it's really doing great. So I'm kind of sad I missed out that 1 week with all the rain, but that's okay. I already have a few things that I've already harvested that were planted last fall, like the onions. I'm about to pull, I may pull a garlic today actually, just to see. The elephant garlic looks like it's ready, but I'm not sure about the other garlic. I actually need to look it up. It's so tricky. I've never grown like different kinds of garlic because it's hard for my area to grow garlic here, because we don't get cold enough. But this winter we got really cold with that freak snowstorm. So I think, fingers crossed, my garlic did good, but I don't really know when to pick it, so I need to kind of look at that. But the elephant garlic looks like it's ready, and some of the onions are going to be ready in the next month. So let's go start to look. So somewhere in all these weeds there are more onions. I can't believe the weeds. Before the rains came, I just weeded this entire bed, and it just looks like I never even pulled the weeds. Look at these. The weeds are as big as the onions. You see. But if you get down in here, these are actually looking very nice. Oh, I'm so excited. My afternoon project today, if the rain holds out for me, will be to weed this onion bed, because the one thing about onions is they are heavy feeders. Need lots of fertilizer, not lots, but every week or two, and lots of water. And so this rain has just made them bulb up. I mean, I've never had this variety of onions get so big actually. So this is exciting. They are showing some weakness, so I bet these guys will be ready in the next few weeks. How exciting. Now in this bed is where I just pulled all of my sweet 1015 onions, and I did a video, I'll link it below, on harvesting those and drying them out and how to make an onion braid. So before all the rain came, I amended this bed and I added more compost, and these are my little girl's tiny strawberry patch, but they're still going somehow. It's kind of late in the season, but they're still blooming, so that's exciting. But all along here I planted cantaloupe, so those should be germinating in the next week or so. All right, well, the weeds aren't too bad over here, but see the difference between mulching and not mulching the beds? That onion bed over there I hardly mulched, and it's full of weeds. This one has weeds, but they're sporadic, and it's really not that bad. So I really need to make sure I mulch a lot next year. But this row right here is my elephant garlic, and they are heat tolerant and grow well in my warm climate. So I think these guys, what do you say let's pick one. Let's just see. I can't wait. I don't know, this one looks like a puny guy. I want a big one. I'm gonna see this one. Ready? Oh my gosh, I can't even pull it up. Oh no, it broke. Oh my gosh, it is really down in there. Look up. how to harvest garlic. Jiminy crickets. I like literally cannot get it out. I can't even dig it out. Okay, this sucker is deep, deep rooted into the one next door to it. Oh my gosh, it is so hard to get out. Oh my gosh, here it comes. Oh my gosh. Okay. That was really hard to get out. That's awesome. And then, oh, what are these little things called? They are called, well, I can't remember, but I'll put it on the screen. But supposedly, if you plant these, the elephant garlic will come back. So, I don't know, I'll just leave them in the ground and we'll see what happens. So this is my last bed on this side of the property, and I already harvested potatoes, and I'll link that video below, but I had some extra ones because after the big snowstorm, I wasn't even sure if they were gonna make it. So I went out and I got more and I planted more. This is the more. So I succession planted them basically, and they look good. This one looks like it might be ready to bloom soon. They're doing great. So we'll have a second harvest of the, what did I get? I think it was Kennebec potatoes. Back here, I think I have some volunteer green beans. No, I think I planted those green beans. These are some volunteer sweet potatoes that have come up from last year. I'm not mad about it. We'll see what happens. I love a volunteer plant. And then back here are my eggplants, and they are blooming and growing quite nicely. They were a little stunted and the pests are definitely getting to them, so I may have to put some neem oil or something back here. But they're finally growing and blooming, so hopefully I'll get some eggplant very soon. So this is our raised bed side that have the open and shut lids. I did a video about this, but we have an acre of property, and on this side it's not fenced in. Well, it is on this side, but there's a huge opening on the front and side, and we have a lot of deer in our area, and they will just decimate the garden. So my husband built these lids out of electrical conduit, and then I just wrap them in chicken wire and it works. And these big lids are just 2x4s with the biggest hinges I could find, and they open and close really easily. Now, the other side is the Yarden, and that is it's the backyard of our property, and it was just rocks and dirt, and even grass didn't really grow there. So with this COVID time, I turned it into the Yarden, and so you can't eat the grass, so you might as well turn that area into something productive, right? You guys, it is huge. Like, the biggest transformation has happened on this side. I'm so sad I missed a week of filming because it looks completely different. So on this side, this was our first sunflower that bloomed this year. I don't even know. Someone said I could roast it. I think I've waited too long. I don't know. It's looking pretty sad. And then after that one, we have this one, and it's starting to drop its flowers to reveal the seeds. So I need to look up because I think I can cut it and roast it. But then we had this guy opened last week, and then this one just is opening. Isn't that awesome? So I have a few more around the garden. I succession planted quite a few. I planted them all around the garden at different times so that they would be in different stages, so we'd constantly have some blooming flowers, and I don't regret it. They're so pretty and so big. These things are like 6 feet tall. These are the mammoth, and I got them from Baker Creek, and we'll definitely be planting these again. So this one is what we call the lettuce bed. It has some of the there's a few carrots that we need to pick because it's gonna be getting too hot. And this whole side is lettuce. There's a lot of empty spots as we've been harvesting it. The last of the kale, and then a couple of extra tomato plants. This is the white tomatillo. I had 6 and it's the only one that made it. So I'm actually really excited about that. Oh, looks like I had a little one pick some carrots and leave them out here. They're so tiny. They're not even as big as my finger. Okay, now in this cedar bed, at the end of one of the arches, is exploding. It is some cantaloupe, some green beans, these cucumbers are really starting to take off. They're at the bottom of the arch. They will eventually, hopefully, grow up, but try not to disturb the bees. Hello, little bee friends. Thank you. This bee is pollinating the cucumbers as we are watching. An easy trick, and something I might still do anyways, is to take a little paintbrush and go from flower to flower. The ones that, like this one, that don't have a fruit, that are just a flower, is a male. And the ones that do, let me find one, that have a baby cucumber on the end. This one's not open, but you can see there's a little cucumber and a flower at the end. That's the female. So you want to do a little paintbrush on the male flowers and then just gently rub it on the flowers of the female, and that will make sure that you have a lot of cucumbers that are growing and they're pollinating. Sometimes the bees aren't out. They're not gonna get many, but there are lots of bees out today. Okay, on the corner, I have these nasturtium edible flowers, and with all this rain, they started to bloom. And they are so pretty. Oh my gosh, this one is like oranges and reds. I think it too. So on the other end of the arch, it is also taking off. There are, oh, this nasturtium is already dropping some of its flowers. Yeah, they are just so lovely. They're so gnarly looking. And these are completely edible, even the leaves. I've seen people use the leaves in salads, or like sometimes they'll get really big and you can make the homemade cabbage rolls out of them. I haven't yet, but I'm definitely going to. But I'm just in awe of the flowers. Here are some more cucumbers. There's some starting to take off. And it is, let's see. It is really climbing up that trellis. See how those little tendrils, they just grab on? I love doing cucumbers on a trellis. Now what I do is I come out here and you see how some of these are just hanging willy-nilly. I will come out and kind of just feed it through, give it some encouragement to show it where it needs to go. And then it'll just follow up. In this bed, these are all green beans and they are really taking off. I don't think we've made any green beans yet. Look at these, are so sweet purple flowers. So the green beans are sure to come very soon. Now this, look at this guy. It's huge. This is my pumpkin plant. See, I've got some pumpkins down in the foliage. My poor Mexican oregano, I may try to dig that up and transplant it because the winter squash is planted. There's like 2 plants and it is out of the bed actually ends like right here. It's coming out of the bed, it's overflowing into the walkway, and it's actually growing up the house. It's all down in here. So yeah, that pumpkin and winter squash is really loving this rain and weather. There's a spaghetti squash. Look at these gorgeous blooms on these. They're just so lovely. They're huge. Some of these are like really big blooms. And they're everywhere. Now I said I was not going to do any squash this year because the squash vine borers hit my garden last year with a vengeance, and they just come in and they decimate everything. Their little eggs into the stem, so when the little larvae hatch, they hatch in the stem and they eat your plant from the inside out. And there's lots of things you could do. I've done like little surgery basically where you cut open the stem and you dig them out, and then you can bury the stem. You could try to do all kinds of things. I said I wasn't going to do it this year because I didn't want the fight. I did anyways. Half of these are looking good, but I can see I've got some squash vine borer destruction hit. Let me show you. Okay, so this is the bed that I put my daughter's wrought iron bed frame in to have stuff growing up it, and it is these rattlesnake pole beans are just starting to take off. They're starting to really climb up. It's gonna be so beautiful. I have some more sunflowers. I don't remember what I planted here. Maybe this is cantaloupe and some basil. Let me show you a trick with the basil. A lot of people want to come out and harvest the big leaves, and you can do that some, but if you want yours to be extremely bushy, here's the trick. You find where the stem splits off in two. You see you have the two leaves here, and it goes off to each side. If you pinch off the top like that, you see here's another one here. You can see it splits off into two. We're gonna pinch the top, so you harvest the tops, which is smaller, but it's going to do a lot of things. It's going to help keep it here, my zone, from it going to seed, but also it makes it redirect all that energy down and out, so it makes your basil plants get huge and bushy. And so that's what we want, the huge bushy plants. So I just come out here when I check on my garden, pinch off these areas that are split, and yeah, it's gonna make huge bushy basil. This is my regular basil. This is lettuce leaf basil, and that's where the leaves get like lettuce size. They're perfect for putting in a sandwich or wraps, stuff like that. They're so good. Well, this spaghetti squash plant is, the leaves look good. There's no signs of there's another spaghetti squash. There's no signs of damage. This one, however, the leaves are showing yellowing, they're dying back, and I can guarantee you there's squash vine borers. I haven't even looked, but it happens really fast. And this is my butternut squash plant. Let's see, let me show you just what the squash vine borers do. Yeah, you can see the stem is yellowing. It looks really sad. So you can usually tell because though, ooh, yeah, this is exactly it. So it just fell right off. And it leaves almost like a sawdust kind of consistency. I'm gonna have to come in with a little razor blade and cut it open. But this is exactly what it looks like. And they will just come in and kill the whole plant, I swear, overnight. These are all the tall tale signs. I'm gonna try to cut it open, find the squash vine borers and get them out and put soil on top and see if they'll at least keep going so that the fruits that I have on it can make it to harvest. Yeah, see this one, it just killed the plant before it had a chance. I've come to the conclusion that whatever someone charges you at the farmer's market for organic squash, it's worth every cent. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna do that again. It's really hard, and you put up, you know, you're giving such a large area for these squash to grow and it not last long. So if I do it next year, put the plants inside so that they're very mature, so that when it's time, when I can plant them safely outside after the frost, I want them to be very big so they start producing immediately and I can get a good harvest in before the squash vine borers hit. On the back side of the yard, it is exploding. This is the tomato area. Now I'm 5'6" and these are way over me. They are probably 6 foot tall. These are all indeterminate heirloom varieties. When all the rain came, it got super duper heavy. Oh, that's the air conditioner. It got really heavy and it started falling over. So my husband just came out here and screwed in a nail, and we did some string line just to help reinforce it because it is getting out of control. Look at that, it's so beautiful. We've already harvested a ton of sun gold, little cherry sized tomatoes, but there are so many big slicers. Like if you look in here, there are huge clusters of tomatoes. I will let some of these vine ripen, but some of these, as soon as they start blushing, I'm gonna pull them off the vine because everything is waiting for these guys to give in. Look, these are easily bigger than my hand. Now, I've never grown tomatoes that are this big, so this is really exciting, these big slicers. The problem is not only is every family member waiting for these big bad boys to turn red, but so is everything outside. There's birds, squirrels, the chickens. So as soon as these start blushing, I'm probably gonna pull a lot of these in the house to ripen on the countertop, just so I know that they're protected and so the bugs don't get my harvest before I do. And this is what the tomatoes look like. And I know I planted too many too close together, but I just went for it. So I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna trim up some of the bottoms because I'm seeing some, might be early blight or something, and I wanna get that taken care of really quickly. So I'm gonna trim up all the bottom leaves so that there's lots of airflow and so that they're not Genovese basil and lettuce leaf basil. Do you see the difference in the leaf size? I'm loving that lettuce leaf basil. And we have the bell peppers are growing so nicely. My other peppers are flowering and putting on. Look at all those peppers. Look at my salsa garden. Isn't it looking great? These tomato towers, they're just so gorgeous. Now, I don't know if y'all remember, but in the last garden video, I shared that my toddler took out all the markers on what was what when these were just seedlings. And so the jalapeno plants look identical, but they're different kinds. I have jalapenos, but I also have notapenos. So that means half of these will be hot and half of these will have no heat. So this weekend, we picked one, I think it was this pepper plant, and took a bite, jalapeno. So now we know what this one is. These are also doing really well. This is another set of tomatoes. Again, same problem. We did have some hail last week with one of the rainstorms, and the hail did knock off some tomatoes. It also broke a couple plants that I didn't have tied. I've been using this tomato tape. And it's like a thin plastic roll from Amazon, and I've just been tying them to the trellis as they grow that high. But this side also has a ton of tomatoes that are just coming out. They look so good. So I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. I'm gonna trim up these bottom leaves and make sure that they're getting lots of airflow. And then here is our teepee. This is my little girl's teepee. And last year it grew all the way to the top and hung over to this bed. So we're hoping it's gonna be really full this year. And once, you know, they'll start intertwining, and in the next 3 weeks, it'll definitely be filling up this whole teepee. On this bed, we harvested all the potatoes from, put more soil, and we went ahead and we planted some okra here. Country and the spineless clemson. So they haven't sprouted yet. And I can't remember what I planted back here, but it is starting to germinate. See those little guys? Okay, and this is the other side of that trellis with the tomatoes. This is Tomatillo Plants. And I've been getting some, like this one, they're falling off really little. So I don't know what's going on, but I'm just going to put them in a freezer bag. And then when I get enough, I'm gonna pull them out and defrost them and make salsa verde. Along this back fence, We just planted some okra. It's finally germinating. It's coming up back here. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna succession plant okra all over the garden over the course of the summer because it loves the heat and it loves the sun, and it's one of the few things that will grow the entire summer in our zone. So if you've never grown okra before, it's the best thing to grow in the summer because, like I said, it will grow all summer long until the frost, and it puts out the most beautiful like flowers. It's actually, okra is in the hibiscus family, so it looks like a hibiscus plant, and it is so gorgeous. Mine were like 7.5 feet tall last year, and it was perfect. And it's May. We are still eating from okra that we put in the freezer last fall. It produced all the way from May until October last year, and we had just a ton of okra. So I'll definitely be putting in okra as things die off and we have spots empty up. I'm definitely gonna be doing a lot of okra this year. Don't mind the dog pull. It's hot. But this is my sweet potato bed, and it has just taken off. I think, yeah, we have some more sunflowers. I think my little girl's planting them everywhere. But these sweet potatoes, they just take off. Like I said, they love the weather. They will grow profusely. You don't have to do anything to them. I love growing sweet potatoes because they're just so easy to grow and maintain. But they will also put off a ton of flowers. So that's it. Look, it just is so nice. If anyone is thinking about turning a backyard space into a Yarden, I highly recommend it. It's so nice to look out the window and see your food growing. So thanks for coming to this week's garden tour. It is super taking off. I'm hoping that the next one we'll be harvesting all the garlic, but also all the lettuce, because it's going to be getting so hot here that even if the lettuce isn't going to seed, it'll turn more bitter. So I think I'm going to pull all that and plant something summer hardy like cantaloupe, watermelon, or more okra. And if you guys haven't already, hit that like button, comment below with what you guys are going to be planting for the summer heat. So I'm trying to get out of the same old okra and more okra and more okra. So I'd love to hear any ideas you guys might have about what you'd like to grow in the summer. Bye, y'all.